After picking up my guests in Palermo, we spent the first 2 days in western Sicily, scouting and occasionally photographing. The weather was mixed, but we tried to make the most of it. We had many fails in these first few days, but we did manage to photograph a handful of structures among the disappointments, including a small derelict convent in the mountains, a small chapel, a manor house, and even an abandoned castle. The road to the convent was long, rural and in very poor condition, and to be honest, it wasn't a place to take a hired minivan, but what's new? After a slow and steady climb, we were presented with not only an amazing view, but also the overgrown structure. It took us around 4 hours in total to visit the site due to the road conditions and the route, etc. But in my mind, this is what off the beaten path photography is all about, and the spot was worth it. The next day we visited a castle which also led us well off the beaten path, as Google Maps had decided to take us the back route, meaning a very steep 3-kilometre walk or hike to finish the job off, before a rough climb up and inside. Once inside, we then had the challenge to photograph a couple of rooms. The first, the entrance staircase, which was side lit, and then a piano on the top floor, backlit. So again, the shoot took longer than planned. We then of course had to do the 3-kilometre hike back downhill, so it was quite the afternoon. By day 4, we'd arrived in Catania. We were ready to continue the video series, and I looked to shoot a series of leading lines in this fascinating city. Catania is a city defined by its grand Baroque architecture, shaped by history, and sits in the shadows of Mount Etna. In the morning, I had permission to photograph 2 stunning palaces, each offering incredible opportunities to capture leading lines and intricate details. To finish the day, I would explore an overgrown ruin on the city's outskirts, a stark contrast to the ornate interiors earlier that day. So, on to the first palace, and a place that had been on my bucket list for years. Okay, welcome to the episode then, and beginning today in Catania in a Baroque palace, a very famous one, a beautiful one, and one I've wanted to visit for a long time. It's getting kind of busy now, and actually there's a lot more people than it was, but we tried to get in here first so that actually I could line up tripod shots and get a shot of a very beautiful staircase that's in the corridor on the far side. Today's mission is basically to be able to go a couple of spots that are kind of paid places, touristic places, early this morning, trying to get them done before we get too busy. Palazzo Boscari is one of Catania's most important Baroque landmarks, built in the late 17th century. Commissioned by the family after a devastating 1693 earthquake, the palace showcases elaborate stucco work, grand frescoes and intricate carvings. The design reflects the opulence of Sicilian Baroque, with sweeping staircases, arched ceilings and richly decorated interiors. A highlight is the grand ballroom, featuring a painted dome and mirrors that amplify the sense of space and grandeur. But I'm not here for that. I'm here for the staircase. These are the highlights of this palace, and here's my photos. So I'm actually moving now down to the second place, which is actually a monastery, a beautiful monastery, with another great staircase. Now the previous palazzo was difficult to photograph without getting in there super early, and of course that means not concentrating on video and just getting the images. Next time I go back, I'll try and get a little bit more on the video side. Do it in stages is normally what I look to do. Towards the end, maybe larger groups of people were coming in, so it's difficult to then even get video clips, never mind photography. The monastery of San Niccolò l'Arena in Catania is the joint largest Benedictine monastery in Europe. Now a UNESCO World Heritage Site, it houses part of the university in the city. The elegant decorations of the entrance staircase are actually what appealed to me, and visitors often pass through this without the ability to take images, simply because the guards move people on, especially if they're using tripods, and if it's at the wrong time of day. I didn't have this issue with an early visit, and I spent some time photographing the wonderful staircase. Going with the intention that it was going to be paid and actually getting it for free, well, that's my reward, I suppose. So it turns out a fantastic spot actually for groups, pretty big. Can easily talk to people in here. 17mm mounted to the front. Nice simple one. This should be really quick and easy. I didn't actually think this was, like I say, a spot where I could just set up easily and have access. So it's nice to see that something's so easy actually here. I think we'll have a great time photographing this. Hopefully easily accessible in September as well. Good scout in my opinion. So we're always starting with a middle shot, of course. 5 brackets because it's on. Nice, finished. Should be nice and easy, huh? Should be able to get these shots lined up, get another couple of creative ones, and probably even have time for a coffee. I told the group we're meeting back at 12. And it's currently 11:15, so it's working out quite well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 3, 4, 5. I could even be a little bit cheeky and get a bit higher position here, actually, to be honest. I think I might try. What do you reckon? I think so. Let's get up on the wall. Maybe 1. Something like this. We're in a weird position, it seems, so I might quickly get something. So I'm in this position now, 5 brackets. Of course, much more ceiling in the shot. It's much nicer. Just going down to a fixed position. Focusing on the stairs. Easy, easy, easy. Stunning staircase, mate. And of course then the bottom one too. And just got to be careful what I do on the tripod. Nothing too crazy, and just ease it in like that. Now I'm going to go and get something creative now I've done that one. That's looking pucker, looking great, love it. Let's get down, and let's try and get down here for another one. I've selected now for a 24mm shot. Let's go and try and get something else, shall we? Maybe along, what I want to do is shoot through those arches. You see those arches here, and get the staircase on the other side. So that's why I've gone for 24mm. And I'm going to just leave my bag over there for a sec. You could also do some creative stuff here. You see there's this staircase now going up here like this. You could also shoot with the staircase at an angle, which in my opinion would also look fairly decent, right? But I think that's quite a nice shot just here, where you get the arch and you get the arch, the kind of flow of it. Now, of course, there's a few people walking backwards and forwards, but it's nothing major. I'm going to leave my camera in position there, just going to get my bag, make sure it's safe. Of course, it's Sicily, it's not Istanbul, so let me chuck all of this in here quick. Just like that. And bring it down with me. Bag's now in that position, which is safer. And my tripod is in this position here, which looks good. Got the shot, I think. People just, as I got back down again, seems my luck's in today. I'm just doing the top section of it. Focusing on the arch, of course. Oh yeah, looking great, man. And good timing, because now one of those school groups has just rocked up. So they're coming straight in, but they are coming straight in. They're not actually coming up the stairs. They seem to be going into the paid section of the actual monastery with the guided tour. So that's also pretty good. Whether they come here or not, let's see, shall we? Lots busier down there, and groups. But of course, because look just how beautiful they are. Of course there's people here. But we can still work, we can still be creative, because what I can do now is I can get my bag a bit higher, get my bag out of the way, and obviously try and make sure I'm out of their face, and maybe look to try and get some other creative shots. So I'm going to try and get into a position here where I get a section of stairs and a bit of that back wall for a third and hopefully final composition. Let's do that. I've found with these stairs the best way is always one tripod on the higher step, one tripod leg on the higher step, and then the other two lower, and you can balance out then really well. There's actually plenty of room in here, so that's also good. If I position myself like so, I can just come into a position whereby I'm shooting all three of those wall frescoes and just a section of stairs, and I could actually use my lens a little bit creatively here to do a kind of an angled lift. So what I've done here, let me just show you. It's getting noisy, my apologies. But what I've done here is I've gone for a kind of angled shift. I've actually shifted a slight 45-degree angle. Nice and simple one again, just a really nice simple shot to kind of finish. Just got to balance it out a little bit more. I think I've done that nicely actually. I'm just going to do also make sure that it's, yeah, and it is sharp on the back wall as well as the stairs. It's looking good, let me show you. Okay, so I'm pretty much happy with what I've done there. 2 or 3 compositions that I really like. Alongside the other palace, it's been a great double header, a great morning, and it's time now for a coffee. Definitely need a bit of that. My coffee this morning was a little bit bitter. You could probably spend 3 or 4 days in this city alone. This afternoon, photographing some other lost places, some hidden places. Let's get out of here, pack up, and get north. So it's like after successfully navigating the river, I've managed to get myself down to the ruin, and it's looking absolutely amazing. One of the nicest overgrown temples I've seen in a long time. I'm just putting on the 17mm at the moment. It seems the rest of the gang are scared of water. So they've gone for the long way round, but I've actually just scooted straight across the river. It was really easy. And now photographing the ruin, and it's absolutely beautiful actually, to be honest. I've just lined up the first shot, 17mm, overgrown, it's looking amazing, absolute beautiful shot. 5 brackets just in case, but actually the light is so soft today, it doesn't matter at all. I can create a pano if I wish, and that's probably what I'll look to do. Quite a difficult one to get to, but actually really nice. Enjoyed it. And I probably need to go a bit further forwards actually, into the bit more, so I get a little bit more of the kind of arch and the shape, and less of kind of the green in front. I'll show you now. You can see here, I've got all this greenery, quite a lot of it. Yellow flowers, fine. But as you look up, beautiful kind of overgrown ruin looking like that. Fantastic. I'm going to go further forwards. Overgrown, it's looking amazing, absolute beautiful shot. 5 brackets just in case, but actually the light is so soft today, it doesn't matter at all. I can create a pano if I wish, and that's probably what I'll look to do. Quite a difficult one to get to, but actually really nice. And I probably need to go a bit further forwards actually, into the bit more, so I get a little bit more of the kind of arch and the shape, and less of kind of the green in front. I've got all this greenery, quite a lot of it. Yellow flowers, fine. But as you look up, beautiful kind of overgrown ruin looking like that. Fantastic. I'm going to go further forwards. Centimetres or so, and my position is a little bit nicer. I've got more balance in the image, and I've got more of the detail a bit closer, and that's ultimately what I want. Really looking spectacular, actually. The ruin, it's really nice. Of course it's not symmetrical, that would be an obvious statement. But you can get a really nice balance to the shot no matter what, to be honest. 17 is definitely the way to go. Don't want anything narrower than that, really. You'd get a lot more detail on the shot, of course. I'm a lot further back after the group took their shots, and actually get a little bit more of this yellow, this stuff, all in our foreground of our shot, and it looks fantastic. So I'm just actually trying to get a lot more of that green in there. It looks really nice. So I've gone for 3 versions, 24mm, 17, now 17 again, but a lot further back, getting more of that, you know, vegetation in that foreground of the shot. To do it, of course, you've got a focus stack because this yellow flowers is really close to the front edge of the lens. And then another shot, of course, for the wall at the back. Really, really easy to do, to be honest. So when it came to editing these files, I made errors in camera on site. Let me explain. I actually boosted my ISO up in camera to try to alleviate any of the in-camera motion that was happening in the raw files in the foreground of the image, particularly around those yellow flowers. I think I underestimated the power of the wind that day, and also I think my eye was off the ball in the fact that I was worried about the group, where they were, what was going on with them. They took a while to get into sight, and also the fact that it was starting to get dark very, very quickly as the day was drawing to a close. These were the two main problems, and I didn't raise that ISO enough. I did 400, and one stage did 640, and those 640 files are the only ones that were basically savable, which is a shame. I had to use the darkest possible exposure, raise up the exposure a couple of stops, if not more, and in the foreground of the image, even try to kind of crop out sections that weren't looking great. So it's going to mean at some point going back there, because I really like this site and I like the visual. The problem is in autumn, when I'm back in September for this tour, it's unlikely that the yellow flowers are going to be present. So it's going to need more patience. This is the thing with architecture photography. Sometimes you have to be very, very patient, and sometimes it may lead you to going back to locations way after the initial shoot. 9 times out of 10, my best images taken are actually on repeat visits or after multiple visits to a site when I know the lay of the land, the lighting, the conditions, and in this case, the yellow flowers. If you've got any comments, leave them below. That's all for this week. I'm sorry that this video has taken a lot longer than planned, but I've been very busy this spring. But I can promise you I am present and I'm here. If you've got any comments, leave them below. The next video I won't leave you waiting 4 weeks for, but I hope you've enjoyed this episode. And part 4 is to follow, and there's a couple more videos from Sicily before we move on to Moldova, Romania, and more. See you all very soon. Bye-bye for now.